everybody to please take their seats. I'm going to call this special meeting to order on Monday, January 26th. Oh my God, Monday, January 22nd, sorry. At this point, I would just ask all who are able to stand, please, and we will do the acknowledgement of traditional lands. I'm going to do this one in French since I did the one earlier today in English. So, nous reconnaissons que nous sommes accueillis sur les terres des Mississauga, des Anishinaabe, de la Confédération Haudenosaunee et du Wendat. Nous voulons également reconnaître la pérennité de la présence des Premières Nations, des Métis et des Inuits. Miigwech. You may be seated. At this time, I would like to ask if there are any conflicts of interest from trustees, either online or in the room. Okay, so if you feel you have a conflict of interest once it begins, you can let us know. I think at this point, I'd like to pass the chair to the vice chair, though, as I would like to speak. Okay, before we get to the business of the special meeting that was pre-scheduled, we do have, oh, that's right, we're in a board meeting. Thank you, Vice Chair Shan. It's actually good to stretch. I'd like to bring some emergency business to the board. We have a time crunch on an issue related to the city budget. And their timing is February 1st, and this advocacy needs to happen before then. And our board meeting is the 31st. So I'm not sure if this new board, if we've done emergency business before that I can remember, but I am moving emergency business on behalf of student trustee Bell, who's joined us this evening. I would just turn it, well, we need a seconder first, who I believe is trustee, well, thank you, Trustee McLean. I think Trustee Laskin is also on this, but that's perhaps more the motion.
Need to put it on the agenda first.
Sorry, and I shouldn't be asking that either. So I think actually it would be, I'm struggling tonight, I'm sorry. Vice Chair Shan, I'm going to leave it at that and then.
We need a seconder first. Do you have a seconder?
Laskin.
Trustee Laskin. Now, the first thing is to make sure that the board agrees to put this on the agenda as an emergency item. So we'll need 2/3 of the board members who are present, trustees who are present here to put it on the agenda. And I think Trustee Choneslin motivated for the fact as to why it's an emergency item as opposed to the merit of the motion itself. I don't know if student trustee, if you wanted to speak on why it is an emergency item as opposed to the merit of the item itself for now. If not, we can go to vote and get it on the agenda if that goes through.
I can speak to in terms of why it is a emergency motion. So, of course, similar to what the chair kind of mentioned, or Rachel mentioned, was because of our board meeting not being until the 31st, and this particular issue arising and being essential to address before the 1st. We must be able to make sure that we move as quickly as possible to address the key issues that relate to our youth and our students overall. If we wait until the 31st, the aspects / impact that this particular motion would be able to provide won't be effective at all, and in turn be useless. So we want to make sure we do it as soon as possible to make sure that our voices as the TDSB is also heard, but the voices of our students overall are heard in the municipal level. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a mover and a seconder to add this item to the agenda as an emergency item. We can now move on to the vote. Do we have e-scribe or vote by hand? E-scribe? Please vote on e-scribe to add the item to the agenda. We will need 2/3.
Laskin in favor.
Chernas Lynn in favor.
Shan in favor.
Trustee Williams in favor.
Patel in favor.
Arts in
Nunziata in
favor.
favor.
Girls in favor.
Rajkul Singham in favor.
King in favor.
Earhart in favor.
McLean in favor.
Dawson in
Jessica
favor.
Raj in favor. It's not coming up on my screen.
Dedovitis in favor.
Okay.
Rajwani in favor.
Anyone opposed? Okay. It carries. So the item is now on the agenda. Now, can I have a mover and a seconder for the item? Okay. Trustee Chernas-Lynn moving. Can I have a seconder?
Laskin.
Trustee Laskin seconding it.
And we're moving on behalf of Trustee Bell, remember.
Awesome. So would you like to speak or would you like the student trustee Bell to speak?
Trustee
Okay.
Bell.
We'd like to ask the student trustee Bell to speak on the item now.
Okay. First of all, before I begin to speak, I'd like to express my appreciation for lending me your time and efforts on the board level. Now, in terms of who I'm speaking on behalf, as the student trustee for the Toronto District School Board and also deputy lead of education for the Toronto Youth Cabinet, today I stand before you to advocate for the voices of our TDSB students through a joint motion between the TDSB, TYC, and TCDDSB. Now, overall, we want to talk about why it's important for what this motion is and what it encompasses. We find ourselves in a crucial moment as we discuss the 2024 budget for the City of Toronto. As a student trustee within the TDSB, my student perspective report has been able to have me go into schools and experience the power that students have when given the right resources and funding for their education. Along with TYC, being able to consult with multiple different students across our city, many of which TDSB students. We've been able to learn what students truly want and desire within the funding, and the fact that we need more funding to make sure their issues and/or suggestions are addressed. It's important to advocate for the fact that the TDSB's Board of Trustees last year also advocated for the particular statement and letter to the board. Today, we face the pressing challenges of rising youth unemployment, and increased incidence of youth violence in the City of Toronto and the greater GTA. With the TDSB's current drives and advocacy towards youth employment, towards youth-driven initiatives, and also violence prevention with SafeTL, this motion in particular directly aligns with what we desire and what we want as the board. Our youth deserve more. They deserve increased programming and support for community-led organizations and initiatives for children and young people. The Toronto Youth Cabinet, through numerous budget consultations, engaged with multiple different students across the city to understand their needs and aspirations. We must take this into account when passing this motion, as it's seen that students truly wish and truly drive towards increasing the budget for youth. Therefore, I present to you the following different statements up on the screen today. The first of which is that the chair shall send a joint statement with the Toronto Youth Cabinet to the Mayor of Toronto and Toronto Youth City Councillors to focus on prioritizing youth within the Toronto City budget. The statement shall include what's up on the screen above, but it's also important to mention that previous today, I got a text message stating that the Toronto Catholic School Board also passed unanimously this particular motion. So make sure that we're showing a strong united front at the board level within the municipal government. It's essential to make sure that we join hands with the fellow school boards across Toronto to make sure that the Toronto Youth Cabinet, Toronto Catholic School Board, and Toronto District School Board are together and joint within prioritizing youth budgeting within our municipal government. I ask for your help, your assistance, and passion towards this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Student Trustee Bell. I have Trustee Chernas-Lynn next to speak. Anyone else wants to speak, let us know.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that, well, first of all, to thank Student Trustee Bell for her advocacy on this, working with Stephen Mensa from the Toronto Youth Cabinet. I think this is really important. This is something we talk about around the board table a lot. And something we have done so much advocacy for and so much work on to ensure students, particularly coming out of the pandemic, but especially in our most high needs area, that we're focusing on youth employment, that we're focusing on youth programming, that we're focusing on prevention of youth violence and upstream efforts. This is something that we've been really working on with SafeTO and the Mayor's Office and our board and partners in the community where this is making the most impact. And it's incredibly important that we continue this work and see it grow as well if we're to see the positive upstream effects that we're looking for. What I think is really great about this is last year we did what I thought was a good step. We endorsed the Toronto Youth Council's position. This time, this is not only a joint statement that we're working on with the Toronto Youth Cabinet, but also with the Toronto Catholic District School Board. When we join together, when we find alignment together, we are stronger together than we are on our own. So I see this as a very positive step forward in terms of advocacy work, and I hope that it will grow and that we'll find alignment on many things and work on building this. So I think this is a terrific step forward. It took some jostling over the weekend to get it all right. And I know the Catholic Board was meeting tonight, and we will work with them should this pass on together with Student Trustee Bell and our communications department to land on a statement that works for all of us and that encompasses what's in this motion. And we were careful with the wording of this motion so that it reiterated the language and the framing that we at the TDSB have supported over the last year or so. So I think I really hope that everyone will support Student Trustee Bell's motion, and I'm thrilled to be moving it on her behalf because I know she's worked so hard on it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee Chonaslin. Next is Trustee Laskin, followed by Trustee Williams.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I too want to thank Trustee Bell very much for taking the time and actually going to the Toronto Youth Council's consultation on the budget and working with the chair of the Toronto Youth Council, Stephen Mensa, and bringing this forward. And it's indeed my pleasure to support and second on your behalf. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Trustee Laskin. Trustee King? Trustee Williams and then Trustee King. Trustee Williams?
Okay, thank you so much through the chair. I can't say how much I appreciate the student trustee Bell, bringing this motion. I think the joint statement and the collaboration in making a joint statement and the solidarity in making a joint statement in support of our youth is so important. You know, we've said it again and again, coming out of this pandemic has really had an adverse impact on our youth, and the recovery is ongoing. Youth employment, youth programming, mentorship, paid internships are so important. And through the chair, I just want to express my heartfelt thank you and appreciation to Student Trustee Bell for bringing this forward and all of the amazing work being done by the Toronto Youth Council, led by its chair, Stephen Mensa. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Trustee King.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. I'm also in support of this motion for all of the reasons we've heard. I think this does a wonderful job of trying to address the conditions of learning that we often speak about, that we know affect the work that we do, affect what happens in classrooms, but isn't necessarily in the purview of control. of staff and people in the room. The other thing I just wanted to highlight that I think is such a wonderful demonstration out of this example is the role that Trustee Bell has taken. We have heard from the Toronto Youth Cabinet before, and we've endorsed their work before, but I believe that this is the first time, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that we've had a trustee actually go and be a part of that group and that discussion and really embed the conversation and then be able to bring that back to us here. And I think that's just such a wonderful way to ensure the student voice is really heard and centered and a part of this work. So along with commending you with the work that you've done, I really want to commend the relationships that are being built here. I hope that that is just the beginning of more work that we'll do together that's collaborative. I know that we have the city relationship now as a committee as well, so hopefully we'll see similar examples come out of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Trustee King. I don't see any more questions or comments, so we will move on to the vote. Is it going to go through eScribe or? Okay.
Laskin in favor.
King in favor.
Shannon,
Arts in favor.
Trustee Williams in favor.
Dawson in favor.
Nunziata in favor.
Logical Singham in favor.
Earhart in favor.
Raja in favor.
Ghost in favor. Trustee Rajwani in favor.
Dedovitis in favor.
And Patel in favor.
Wong in favor.
Anyone opposed? Okay, it's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. I'll pass the chair back to the chair.
Okay, so at this point, I'm going to ask for a mover and a seconder to move into private.
Sriskandarajah.
Trustee
And Trustee
Williams.
Divides. So we have Sriskandarajah and Divides who have moved that. And we are just going to clear the room. Thank you very much, Student Trustee Bell. And I'll just turn it over to the director to just indicate who should remain in the room. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this item.
motion to rise and report? A mover and a seconder, please, for that?
Laskin?
I'm confused. What? Okay, my apologies. Can I have a motion to accept the decisions made in private?
Iskandar Raja.
Trustee
Laskin?
Williams.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed? Okay, seeing none, that has carried. Can I have a motion to adjourn the special meeting? Mover and a seconder, please. Trustee King, Vice Chair Shen, thank you. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, we are going to take a very quick 5-minute break just because we have to reset the